Good afternoon. This is Jason Powell, and I am doing another episode of In Case You'd Like to Know. In case you'd like to know, what am I teaching your kid at Sunday school? So today, or yesterday, we went over 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 through 12. Here's the context. Elijah, the prophet of God, is running from a woman named Jezebel who is trying to kill him, and he's hiding in a cave. And then the Lord tells him to come out of the cave, and he gives him a demonstration. And that's what we're going to talk about. So he first gives a windstorm. So the wind is blowing all around the mountain that he's hiding in this cave. The cliffs are being torn off, but the Bible records that God was not in the wind. And then next came an earthquake. And so there's an earthquake and things are shaking. And again, the mountain is moving and God's not in the mountain. This is what the Bible says. And then next, after that, there comes a fire that is started in the mountain area. But the Bible records that God is not in the mountain either. And then the Bible says this, and then Elijah heard a gentle whisper, and God was in the gentle whisper. And what I told the kids was this. The reason why you can't hear from God if you're actively trying to is because there's too much noise going on. There's earthquakes, there's windstorms, there's your phone, then there's the tablet, then there's the TV, then there's the video games, and there's all of this stuff. And if you have too much going on, you can't hear a person who's whispering. And so what God often does is he waits until we get to a place where it's silent so that he can be heard. And so I'll give you another example from the Bible. The Bible records that Moses was walking by a burning bush, and when he turned to inquire of why the bush was burning, then the Lord spoke. And so had Moses just saw the bush, walked by it, and didn't pay no attention to it, he would have never heard from God. But when he stopped to take a look, that's when he heard it. In the same way, I told them that you're not hearing from God clearly because there's just too many distractions you got going on in your life, and it's not a priority. So when you get away from all these things, you'll probably be able to hear from God a little bit clearly. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing we talked about was dating. I asked them where they got the information on dating from. And then I gave them some homework. I won't tell you what they told me. You ask them. But what I gave them was for homework was to talk to their parents about what their parents look for in a mate, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, when they were your age. And then to talk about how they've matured since then, because the kids need to learn not to just not have sex before marriage, but how to pick a good spouse or a good boyfriend or girlfriend. And so please ask your kids these questions, because it'll help with a dialogue that will help them to not make the same mistakes that we made when we were their age. With that being said, this is In Case You'd Like to Know, and I am Jason Powell. Peace.